Today's lesson actually has nothing to do with posing. It has to do with the piece of the puzzle that was the biggest game changer for me, and that was when I started to work on my mindset. I know that you guys have heard this before. If you're investing in yourself, you're already at a place far beyond other creatives because you actually are looking into how you can make yourself better. And in the end, your brand is you. So, I'm just going to kind of talk through some of the things that have really made a big difference for me personally. Take what you will from it, try one, try all seven of them if you want to. But really, if you're willing to look at your mindset, that's going to make the biggest difference in the end. So, the first thing that I do every single day is meditate. Hear me out. I know that meditation has been talked about as being kind of woo woo or out there. I thought that once too. And if you haven't noticed yet, I'm a little bit of a all over the place kind of gal. So my mind goes a million miles a minute. Meditation for me, when somebody said, you should sit down and you should meditate, I would sit and I couldn't even close my eyes because then my mind just woo. But I would look at the floor and it would go 30 seconds and the thoughts would start to roll. But when I actually started to do it on a consistent basis and give it a chance, now that's part of my morning that I actually enjoy the most. I spend 20 to 40 minutes meditating every single day. And what I found during that time is with being a person who is super hustle based and super excitable and outgoing and energetic, my mind mimics that. But when I calm it down, I make connections between things that I wouldn't otherwise do. So that calmness, those moments where nothing is expected, is what brings me the most insight into my business and where I should be going as a brand. Again, find the right kind of meditation for you though. When I first started, I thought that I had to sit still. I thought that I had to be there. Absolutely not. It doesn't work for me, but I found a meditation that worked. So the Calm app is a really great one to utilize. You can also, I use Peloton once in a while because I have a Peloton subscription. And then I found a girl named Mimi who has a meditation app, and that's what I utilize most of the time. There's plenty of things on YouTube you can try. There's lots of different ways to meditate. It does not have to be the woo. It really doesn't. So look into that. The second thing that I really enjoy doing is journaling. I use my journal on a daily basis after meditation to record those thoughts. But what journaling does for me is it slows me down. By having to write things out, I can type at an insane speed. But when I actually have to write something down, it takes me a little bit longer. So it helps me to process through those thoughts that I've just had. Again, it helps me to walk through and to calm down that crazy that goes in my head. I'm not crazy, but we're all a little crazy, right? So the third thing that changed the game for me mindset wise were affirmations. I felt like a complete fraud when I first started doing affirmations. I specifically remember the very first affirmation that I decided that I was going to repeat to myself. Only one, just one, because I just didn't believe it. I didn't believe that I was bold, that I was beautiful, and that I was bright or smart. And I couldn't wrap my head around that because people kept telling me, you are a bold person. I didn't get it. So the way that affirmations work is you basically repeat them to yourself because you reprogram your subconscious mind. Going in and reprogramming that is going to change everything for you. One thing that actually helps me is I have affirmations that show up on my phone as reminders throughout the day. So at 9 a.m., I have something that says, I am creative and interesting. I have something that shows up at 4:30 that says, money flows to me miraculously. These are things that I don't quite believe. Like, if I'm being honest with you, I don't quite believe the affirmations that I'm doing right now. But there are moments that hit that belief becomes reality. And that those things come to fruition in my life. Because I'm telling myself, I'm reprogramming my mind to believe what I'm saying. The fourth thing that really affected my mindset was figuring out what my core values are. The very top core value for me is being grateful. If I don't feel grateful on a daily basis, if I don't find that joy in being thankful, I'm not really living like I should be. But that's who I am. My husband is not somebody that gratefulness even matters to him. And that's okay. But again, I went through an entire process of finding my core values, of looking through and trying to figure out what meant the most to me. And it was hard at first. And then I found a way to really, well, it really made sense for me. My sister actually showed me this from Lululemon. They asked their entirety of the work staff there to take a table and to actually draw out a circle. And you're going to put about 5 to 8 people around that table. They can be real people in your lives. They can be fictional people, people who have passed, people who you respect that are famous, anything like that. You're going to add those people to the table. So do that now. So pause this for a minute, create your little table, and write out the people around you. Okay. Now that you have your table, I want you to look at each of those individual people and say why they're sitting at your table. What do you respect about them? What aspects of their life are you drawn to? For me in particular, one of the things that I loved about one of my best friends was how honest she is. She is brutally honest. She comes at you with truth bombs like crazy. And having that in my life, that showed me that what I value the most is being vulnerable enough to receive that. So one of my other values is vulnerability. But finding what your core values are going to create a difference in your life. Again, my core values, I put them where I see every day. It's on my phone. It's on my lock screen. It's on my home screen. I am able to go through and I see grace, peace, love, gratitude, and vulnerability. Every time that I look at my phone, that's what I see, and it reminds me of who I am. One quick note about finding your core values. It can be really helpful to find a mentor that's going to be honest with you about what you're saying. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. It's better to have somebody in our life who maybe they're not invested personally, but they are invested in you as a person growing. Finding that mentor, finding somebody who's going to be there for you during that time of finding your core values will help you to stay on the straight and narrow and to be honest with yourself about what really matters. The fifth thing that helped me with my mindset shift was refining my skills. And this goes back to photography. I had to be really honest with myself as far as where I was at and where I wanted to be and how to get there. I did not go through and get to the point that I'm at starting off right away. Oh my gosh, if you see, actually, I'll show you some of my photos from before. They are rough. Look at those. Fully saturated, super, super soft. Oh my gosh, I look at those now. And the reason why I showed them to you is because it mattered to me to become a better photographer. Some of the photographs that you see on the screen right now have been taken in the last 3 months, and I couldn't be more proud. But I also know that my skills in 2 to 3 years are going to be better than this. And I'm probably going to look back at these photographs and say, look at where I came from. Refining your skills and finding the ability to really fail is what's going to propel you forward. Success is never possible without growth. It's never possible without looking at something and saying, how could I have done that better? The sixth thing that changed my mindset, and I'm going to be a little preachy here because you guys are only in segment 2 of this. And honestly, you need to finish it. You need to, when you buy a program, you need to go through and complete the entire thing with the understanding that you are not the same person as the person who's teaching you. What worked for them is not 100% going to be right for you, but there is something that you can learn from every program that's out there, from every person who's in the same position or higher or lower than you. One of the greatest teachers for me was actually buying a program of somebody who I didn't actually look at their work and say that's amazing. But I wanted to see what they had gone through to be able to move myself forward. And I learned more from that, even though their work at the end, I'm not trying to emulate a light and airy photographer. I still got something out of it though. So when you buy into a program, and I highly, highly suggest investing in programs, especially online programs, that will teach you how to edit, teach you how to composite, teach you how to change your photography style. Not because that's what's going to be the silver spoon to your business, but because that's what's going to propel you forward. That's what's going to help you to grow. And it's going to help your mindset. I know this sounds counterintuitive. It will help your mindset to fail. Okay? And when you look at a program and you say, this would work for me, and then it doesn't, and find another way and reflect back on what you could have done to make it more yours, that's where you're going to see the real growth. And that's where you're going to see the change. And that mindset growth and that mindset change is also going to increase your confidence, which will increase and change the way that you connect and the way that you actually create with your clients. The seventh and final thing is that I love to read. I don't mean that you have to sit down and read a book. Reading is different nowadays. A podcast is the same thing as reading. You can listen and gain the same knowledge as you possibly could reading books 50 years ago. I sit down every morning and I read a personal growth book. That doesn't mean that I know everything. It doesn't mean that I know anything, in fact. But I'm learning from somebody else who's been there. I'm learning through their experiences, and I'm able to take those and again, reflect and see how I can apply it. So those are the 7 things that I have done to change my mindset that's changed my brand. There are plenty of other things out there that you can do to grow your mindset and to change how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your business. But I would be remiss if I wasn't going to give you guys a segment based completely on how to change this, because this will change the way you relate. It will change the way that you feel. It will change the way that you create. And in the end, that's what we want. I'll see you next time.